She thought she was ready. She had the words. She had the message. She had the fire, at least for a few days. And then the emptiness came. Not a soft silence, a void. Not peaceful stillness, but a flat line. She tried to sit down again, to write, to speak, to do, but the energy had already left the room. She felt dry, disconnected, as if something essential had been cut off, not just from the project, but from herself. And she didn't understand. How could something that felt so aligned suddenly feel so distant? Was she sabotaging herself? Was it resistance, laziness, fear? Or was it something deeper? Something holy? Something ancient in her that refuses to be dragged back into performance, that whispers, if it doesn't come from your truth, don't make it come at all. Because this time, she's not just writing for others, she's returning to herself, and that return has a cost. She's in the in-between. She has already left the identity that proved her worth through doing, that measured her value in productivity, that kept going even when her soul begged her to stop. But the new version, the one that creates from embodiment, from inspiration, from soul, is not fully anchored yet. And in between the two, the void, the holy pause, the aching space where nothing moves but everything matters. Her thoughts. I don't get it. Why does it always happen like this? I start something full of vision, full of heart, and 2 weeks later I feel like I'm disappearing. It's like my body is here, but my energy, nowhere. I wake up and sit at my desk, but there's no pulse, no fire, no joy. I hate this space. It makes me feel like I'm failing. Like I'll never be consistent. Like I'm just not built for this. But what if that's not true? What if this isn't failure, but protection? What if something in me is saying, stop making this your job, stop forcing your gift into a system that was never built for your kind of power? Maybe I'm not lazy. Maybe I'm shedding. Maybe I'm not lost. Maybe I'm between lifetimes. And this emptiness, maybe it's a bridge, not a block. The deeper truth. She is not unmotivated. She's unplugging from the lie that her worth depends on her output. This isn't resistance, it's realignment. Because her nervous system has learned to equate visibility with danger, creativity with pressure, expression with overexposure. And so it retreats, to protect the very thing she's here to bring, her frequency, her original woman. Not as a performance, but as a presence. The questions arise. And this time, she doesn't rush to fix the emptiness. She lets it question her. How does the woman feel who writes from her heart? She feels anchored in the now without having to rush. She is tender with herself, even when the words don't come. She speaks with unshakable honesty, even when it hurts. She creates not because someone expects her to, but because her soul cannot stay silent anymore. She is unapologetically raw, not because she wants to be brave, but because she simply cannot pretend. She feels like an open bowl, ready to receive. And she shines not because others see her, but because she finally sees herself. What draws her in? Depth over distraction. Soul connections over metrics. Spaces that are real, not just curated. People who feel, not just speak. Stillness where something sacred is allowed to emerge. Words that act like mirrors, raw, clear, undressing. Freedom, not as an idea, but as a lived truth. Both softness and wildness without having to choose. When does she write? When she's called. When the wound opens or begins to close. When she wakes and knows, now. When rage rises and she knows its power. When she dances, walks, and the sentence lands. When she stops trying to be good and starts being real. From where does she write? From the belly, not the mind. From the ache that needs a voice. From the courage to meet herself fully. From the in-between space where nothing is yet decided. From a depth that's never truly empty. From a memory of who she was before she was shaped. For whom does she write? For herself, first and always. For every woman who feels what she feels, but hasn't found the words yet. For the girl she once was. For the collective field of the forgotten. For a future where truth is currency. What flows through her? Truth, no longer willing to be silenced. Light that doesn't scream but whispers. Depth that doesn't teach but remembers. Language that liberates. Courage that isn't loud but grounded. Life that finally wants to be lived. Woohoo! And so she learns the emptiness is not her enemy. It is not lack of inspiration. It is the womb before the birth, the stillness before the sound. It is a threshold, and it demands not a plan, but a presence. So instead of pushing, she begins to listen. She sets a sacred space, not for output, but for arrival. She lights a candle, touches her heart, and writes only what wants to be written. One sentence, one breath, one truth at a time. And in the end, she remembers herself. She remembers, I'm not here to impress. I'm not here to achieve. I'm here to embody. I'm not a machine, I'm a current. I'm not a content creator, I'm a vessel. And when nothing moves outside, everything may be shifting inside. So today, I don't need to perform my truth. I just need to come back to it and trust that the real words, the ones that carry weight, never come from pressure. They come from presence, from the woman I've always been but forgot to live as. And now I'm ready to remember her.